Hey everyone, Joe Simons here with Salt Strong. Standing next to me, Captain Peter Deek.
Hey guys.
Guys, the last few days we have been out filming an entire course on how to go out and consistently find and catch live bait under any kind of circumstance, all seasons. I mean, we literally covered everything. And as we were filming, I kept seeing like 3 just common themes and really just big mistakes that you see a lot of weekend warriors and even some guys who are really good, even doing some tournaments, that are messing up all the time. And we wanted to share those with you, regardless if you invest in this course or not. We want to share this because I think it's just so valuable.
Yeah, they're mistakes I find myself making. I always have to get on myself, like, don't make these mistakes.
So let's go right into it. Number one is not having a plan. And we're going to solve it for you too, right? That's the biggest one, is guys go out, they sleep in a little too late, they launch their boat, and they're like, oh, I'm going to go catch live bait. And it doesn't always happen that way. Yeah,
it sounds super silly, but it is so important to have a good strategy and have a couple of backup plans too when you head out.
So one thing that I know you talked about, I was like, all right, Peter, you got a really important customer, a really important client coming in, and you're doing this 300 days a year, so you're always having to make sure you have bait, but it's a real critical one, and you said, here's what I do. What was that tip? I loved it.
That is, wake up early and go find good baits in the lights before you start your day.
And in particular, maybe a bridge or something with some kind of structure and water flow.
Exactly. Yeah. More often than not, you're going to find them under bridges with lights. You can find them around docks with lights. But yeah, a little bit of water flow under a smaller bridge with some lights. There's always fish there because they're attracted to those lights.
So the second day of filming, the evening before, you had said that, and I was like, let's go do it and see.
Sure.
So we actually woke up at like 3:30, got there right at 4. We hit a little bridge with a couple little lights, street lights above it.
Right.
And I had never seen so much bait in my life. You guys were on the boat. We went up above and filmed some of it, and it was unbelievable. I mean, a couple casts, and I mean, blacked out if you wanted it to be. It was nuts.
Everything is attracted to lights at night. So every bait fish that's in the area comes to the lights at night. It's hard to get up that extra hour or two, but you'll be so thankful because you're starting your day off during prime time with prime baits. There's nothing worse than getting out, failing, throwing your net, because you get out after prime time, and next thing you know, it's 9 o'clock and you don't have any bait, and it's just you wish you had the bait, you wish you had gotten up early.
It's a skunked, frustrating day.
So frustrating.
So that's kind of the tip on that. Let's talk a little bit more about just this mistake, because it's not just about sleeping in too late. You mentioned the plan. You know, when we go fishing, my brother and I, we always have a few spots. Like, you know, we're basically pre-trip planning. And you're doing the same thing with live bait, right? I mean, you have a couple spots. You have a couple different ways to catch live bait as well. You're not just going out with one net and hoping and praying they're going to be in that one spot.
Exactly. I mean, don't undermine bait. Bait fishing is just like big fish fishing. They're a fish, so you have to have strategies and plans, and you have to put importance on the baits, because the good bait is going to catch you the good fish, and it's going to give you the good day.
Cool, love it, man. Awesome, man. So that's mistake number 1. Number 2 kind of ties in with that, and I know I'm guilty of this. We don't do live bait fishing as much, but when we do, we're usually just going to one spot, and it's usually nearby where we're trying to go fishing for the day. But you kind of like had an aha moment for me when you said, Joe, like sometimes the very best bait for where I might be fishing inshore is going to be offshore, like, you know, on the beaches or near the inlets and stuff. So don't be afraid to move.
Don't rule out the beaches. Don't rule out offshore. Have a number of strategies and big backup plans, because more often than not, your first strategy is going to work. But if it doesn't, you got a backup plan. And third, you know, you can always zip out a pass or an inlet and fish the beaches. There's all kinds of, sometimes the best bait off the beaches.
Cool. So let's talk about a real scenario. I'm going to be fishing here on some grass flats or, you know, maybe some docks and stuff. I'm looking for bait around there. When, like in terms of a time frame, is it 30 minutes I'm not seeing anything? Is there a certain time frame or a certain, like, when you just say, all right, I got to go to the beaches, they're going to be out there? Like, for the weekend warrior guy who doesn't have a big network of guys he can call and stuff like that.
Okay, you have to have some familiarity with the layout of the area that you're fishing. And then you have to use your eyes to see if there's baits in the area. If you're expecting to see mullet in an area that you know is shallow and out of the wind, and you pull up there and there is no mullet, leave. They're not coming. And if they are, you're not going to stay there. And I see so many people, I do it myself, you know, you're trying, you're just getting the boat dirty. Move on to the next spot. The next spot, if you're not finding the mullet, something could have happened that night with weather. So then you move over to your white baits. And if that doesn't work, then maybe it's time to hit the passes because it's calm, or you go out to the ocean. So you should be able to acquire all of your bait within an hour. Don't spend an hour in one spot, because catching bait is not like catching big fish. They don't swim fast. They live in tight-knit schools, so you move, and then you'll eventually find what you're looking for.
Cool, awesome.
And
man.
you can adapt your techniques to the baits that you find. So you might not have been planning on catching big pilchards, but then you go to your pilchard spot, you catch big pilchards. Now we're chumming for snook.
All right, let's talk about mistake number 3. It's all about equipment, right?
It is.
You can't just go out there with one net.
No.
And you can't even just go out there with one sabiki rig and think that's going to do it. I
Right.
mean, talk about, for someone like you who's catching live bait 300 days a year,
Right.
let's talk about the right equipment. What does that mean?
Well, you need to be prepared for many different circumstances, even some situations that you didn't plan for. So there's things that you can have on your boat, or if you're waiting to have in your car, to always be prepared. And it's not a lot of equipment, it's not bulky equipment, it's just the proper equipment so that you can face any situation that comes at you. You never want to be caught without something that you need. So there's a few things you can do. You can have some chum on your boat that doesn't spoil. You can carry some cans of cat food, awesome chum. You can have a smaller mesh, small cast net for white baits. Even though you're out going to use mullet, you have a small mesh net stored away in your boat or your truck. It doesn't take up much room. That way when you come across a huge school of white bait, there's always snook around them and other game fish. You can start chumming with them. Yeah. There's a number of things that you really have to have with you at all times, just so you're never caught off guard. And that's how the great opportunities happen. You know, carry some gulp shrimp in your boat in case you need to catch some snook bait. You know, what if you come across a bunch of huge snook you weren't planning on seeing, and you want to go get some pigfish or some croakers to catch them? Yep. But you were lure fishing, so you don't have any bait. Well, you got some gulp, you can use those for bait. So be prepared at all times for every situation and circumstance that you might find, and you'd be surprised at how few things you need.
Yeah, and I know you'd said you've seen guys out there so many times, you know, the weekend warrior, he's got the Saturday off and he's sitting there with a net when he should be using a sabiki rig. You're like,
it's
he's
super
not going to
sad.
catch anything.
It is. You see, a good fisherman, he brought his family out or with his friends,
Yeah.
and he's out there and he was planning on using his cast net to catch mullet. And next thing you know, there's no mullet, and all there are these primo big sardines and pilchards everywhere, but the water's too clear and they're too fast. And he's throwing his 6-foot net all day with no success, and all he needed was one pack of sabikis on his boat.
Yeah, it's so important to have it all there. So here's the deal. If you want to get this entire course, and I think the beauty of it is we didn't just film this in an afternoon, as I mentioned, it's a 3-day course where we go out there and actually show you how to catch it. This is not like a fireside chat where we're talking about
A long 3 days.
Yes, I'm sure you're pretty worn out now.
3 a.m. to sunset, but we showed so much, everything.
And literally caught every single type of bait fish imaginable.
No matter where you are in the world, we have the type of baits, not the exact species, and how to catch those.
Yep. And I think the most important thing is just talking about when. So he really boils down when to catch exactly each bait, and we're even putting a little checklist together, something you could print out, laminate it, put it on your boat so you know, all right, it's summertime, I'm going to get a pinfish or whatever it might be. Here's where I need to be looking for it. So we try to make it as simple as possible, where you can literally look at one thing after you go through all the videos and know exactly where you should be getting the bait and what you should be using, whether it be a cast in or a certain size cast in or a certain size mesh, or a sabiki rig, etc. Essentially, after going through this course, which will only take you a couple hours, you will know everything that a full-time fishing guy knows. You will have the same type of knowledge that someone like Peter, who is out there getting live bait consistently 300 days a year, knows. We wanted to make it as simple as possible because it is a lot of information. And it's not like there's just a one spot you're always going to catch live bait.
Right.
But we want to give you the best advantage possible so you can outfish all of your friends and never be in that position where all of a sudden it's 9:30 or 10 and you've been trying to find bait for 2 or 3 hours and you're just frustrated. So if you want complete access, risk-free access to his entire course, click down below. We'll give you the lowest price ever. If you don't want to do that, that's fine. You can go check it out on the homepage and pay the full price. But because you watched this video, we want to reward you. Click down below, put your name in. You'll get instant invitation to get the entire course risk-free.
Yeah, you will not be disappointed, I promise.
Click down below now.